When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Join Live Green Tennessee tonight as we take a trip to Sycamore Springs Farms in Jamestown, Tennessee. Plus, we see what's cooking up at Putnam County's Gumbo Cooking on the Square, and we take a look at the Readville Mill, located in Cannon County. All this right here, coming up next on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This fall, there's fun worth finding just about every day at Tennessee farms, farmers markets, fairs, and festivals. You'll find corn mazes, pig races, farm animals and friendly faces, honey to eat, and fall colors that are a feast for the eyes. Whether you're looking for the perfect pumpkin or just a good scare, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
and by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Southern Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. Connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello, I'm your host Melinda Kiefer, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on tonight's Live Green Tennessee. What many Tennesseans may not know is that agriculture is the #1 source of income in the state of Tennessee, with tourism following a close second. Combining the two into what is known as agritourism has naturally become a popular trend in the past few decades. After a long career in education, Joe and Lena Pennycuff were looking for a post-retirement business that would combine Joe's love for farming with their strong education background. And that's when they opened Sycamore Springs Farm. With everything from hay rides to fresh gardens, pick your own Christmas trees to nature trails, the Pennycuffs have learned, not always the easy way, what operating a farm is all about.
Our farm, Sycamore Springs Farm, has been in operation now for about 7 years. We've had the property for longer than that, but for the last 7 years we've been working towards establishing an agritourism venture where families and school groups, church groups could come and learn about agriculture, forestry, wildlife, and conservation. This fall, for the first time, we're open with our pumpkin patch and our hayride. And we have all different sorts of nature walks and fun family games, old-timey toys, things for families to do here on the farm. We have miles and acres, acres and acres of forest here, mature forest, and we've cut trails through the woods and through the fields so that kids can and families can really get an experience of how trees grow, how honeybees make honey, how pumpkins grow. We're a small agritourism venture, but we really think that families will have a lasting memory, and we want it to make it a tradition for them to come out to our farm. We're not as big as some of the other places, but we feel like education is a big part of the total picture, and we like for kids and families to learn about our trees, our pumpkins, our garden produce, our honeybees, because all of us are just a few generations removed from the farm and from agriculture. And you know, if you like to eat and if you wear clothes, then you're already involved in agriculture. By opening our Sycamore Springs Farm agritourism venture, we have been able to utilize this beautiful land and country that we have been blessed with. In Tennessee, we're one of the luckiest states around because we have so much natural beauty, and we want to utilize that and share it with other people. As a former teacher and a former extension home economist, I am pleased to be able to offer some of the knowledge that I and my family have gained over the years and share it with some other people.
Agritourism is anything that brings people to the farm. It can be a pumpkin patch, a corn maze, which you see typically in the fall, but it can also be a cut your own Christmas tree farm that you see in the wintertime. But in springtime, you also have pick your own strawberries, and then in summer, you have pick your own vegetables and fruits as well, so like apple orchards, peach orchards. So there's lots of fun things that agritourism is. And in Tennessee, we have lots of different agritourism farms across the state. According to the last census, we have about 600 agritourism farms. They may be small ones that maybe just do pick your own blueberries, or they may be large ones that have huge corn mazes, pumpkin patches, different things like that, educational aspects to them. So agritourism in Tennessee is a huge deal for Tennessee agriculture and for tourism.
Today we were privileged to hold a special event here at Sycamore Springs Farm. We were selected as one of the 10 farms across the state of Tennessee to help celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Pick Tennessee Products campaign. And we were very pleased to have local representatives from the media, area representatives from the media, some officials from the Department of Agriculture, and we also had a school group here from Scott County with lots of parents and grandparents, and we all just had a good time celebrating agriculture and what it's done for the state of Tennessee.
I work for the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and responsibilities are developing businesses in agriculture. We're really keyed in now on jobs development as related to agricultural projects. We've had some tremendous success here over the last few years, especially in the poultry and the dairy industry. The local availability of locally grown products naturally guarantees freshness, and we feel like you're going to get a better quality instead of food shipped halfway across the world or halfway across the United States. And it does help the local economy. The local farmer keeps his money at home, and it helps school system and tremendous dividends paid by buying local. One of the larger investments in the Department of Agriculture in the last few years has been the Cobb Van Trest project up in Morgan County. I was approached by them several years ago, and actually this is a multi-county project. They have facilities in Macon County, and there's about $24 million invested down there, both by the company and on farm, and then there's about 26 up here.
I'm Becky Rupi. I'm the Executive Director for Morgan County Economic Development, and we're very excited that we have Cobb Van Trest that's moving into our county. They're actually there now pouring concrete and getting closer every day, and hopefully will be open in January 2012. They will employ 118 people in this region, Fincher, Scott, and Morgan counties. Going to invest about $19 million. They'll have a $28 million a year budget, and we'll have over $4 million a year in payroll, which will have a huge economic impact on this whole region.
One person asked me, "Did you used to be a teacher by any chance?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "You just can't take it out of you." So I'm continuing to be able to share things and experiences and knowledge and doing it on my own terms, on my own land. And that's really, really important. That's really what our forefathers did when they staked out a homestead and made their first farms. Kids have a lot of high-tech gadgets these days, but what we've found is kids love fun on the farm, whether it's a hayride or a gravel mountain, an old-fashioned hopscotch balance beam out of logs and circles of timber, whether it's a penny board, a Jacob's ladder, an old clicking wheel type thing. Kids love those sorts of things, and a whole generation is growing up without knowing some of the good old-fashioned fun that we had. We have a party porch here at Sycamore Springs where you can come and just sit and rock and relax with the family. We have picnic facilities. We have a fire circle where you can come and roast hot dogs or make yourself some s'mores. All of these are things that kids need to know about, and at the same time learn about living from the land like our ancestors did. We love it here at Sycamore Springs Farm. We hope that you will come out and visit us, and we hope that you will love it as well.
Tennessee has a wide variety of festivals throughout the year that showcase music, artisans, foods, crafts, and more. One festival in Cookeville, Tennessee shuts down the entire square, all to benefit the local chapter of Habitat for Humanity. Local artists spend months crafting handmade bowls, each one unique, which are then used by participants to enjoy Cajun fare such as gumbo, jambalaya, red beans and rice, and more from over 60 different cooks. Live Green Tennessee visited the square in Cookeville to find out why this festival has become so popular that it's now celebrating its 15th year.
This year was our 15th Cooking on the Square. It began in 1997. It was the brainchild idea of Don Calcote and John Clemens, and it's just grown immensely every year. The day after Cooking on the Square, on October 29th, we began the 6th house that has been funded from this event. It came from the idea of getting potters, the craft of pottery together, and then some type of food. So they got cooks of gumbo, jambalaya, a Cajun type of fare to provide food 15 years ago, and it has just grown. We have over 60 cook teams. We have a team of volunteers that cook rice. We have a great team of volunteers that donate desserts. It's a real community event. It's just grown immensely, and you could see by the turnout on Friday, despite the cold rain, how much this community loves this event and supports Habitat. We had over 900 people stand in the cold rain on Friday and enjoy Cooking on the Square. Many of them wanted to make sure they got their bowl for the 15th time. Many of them have a long collection, a big collection of bowls that they're very proud of. I think the bowls is one thing that makes us so unique. Other habitats have actually taken our idea, but they've not been able to quite duplicate the bowl idea. And our bowls are hand-thrown bowls from local potters. On Thursday morning, before the event, I got a call from a local potter who had 150 bowls she wanted to donate, and it's just amazing. Many of them will spend just the year when they're throwing bowls, throw a couple extra each time for the event. We're very proud of the partnership we have with Appalachian Center for Crafts. Every September they hold a bowl-a-thon, and tech students and other local artists will donate their time and throw bowls. I believe we had about 1,500 bowls donated through the bowl-a-thon this past September. So that's one unique item that we can't duplicate. You know, I'm not a potter. No matter what our staff does, we could never throw the bowls to make this event what it is. And we just love the fact that we have so many local potters give to this event. Our 6th Cooking on the Square home is our 60th home we've built in this community, and we couldn't have done it without the support of such a great community that we have. Our homes are Energy Star built homes now, plus this 6th Cooking on the Square home is our 5th Earthcraft house, and that is a green method of green building that we're doing right now. Our entire neighborhood, the New Hope subdivision, is a green neighborhood. It's an Earthcraft house neighborhood. And it's, to be an Earthcraft house, first of all, the home must be an Energy Star built home. And second, it is the method that we build the home, that it's clean air environment inside the house. We use proper methods in building the house for the environment to keep it safe, and just, it's was founded in Atlanta by the Home Builder Association and South Face Institute. So it's a more of a southeast regional green building method. Many people are familiar with LEED, which is very popular, especially with commercial builds. So Earthcraft is really growing in popularity in the southeast for residential. Our first Earthcraft house is doing real well. They've been in the house almost a year now, come December, and their family has been healthier this year. They don't have the respiratory infections they've had in the past they've been prone to where they were living in the rental home. They say people notice when they come in the house that the air seems cleaner in their house. Their utility bills are much more suitable for them, for their budgets. It's just the best way to do things, and we're just trying to continue that. And it takes, again, the support of this community. Our volunteers have really grabbed onto the idea of green building, and they really appreciate the extra work it takes to do this type of build. But there's 5 families now that live in a home built through Cooking on the Square. And Jan Blumetti and her daughter have raised the walls on this 6th home, and they're in a rental house now, and she never dreamed she'd be able to own her own home, and she's just excited to be working on it, and we can't wait for her to get the keys to it and the mortgage.
Tennessee's rich agricultural history can be seen all over the state, with centuries-old farms, agricultural fairs, and with traditional farming methods still in practice today. Recently, Live Green Tennessee visited the Readville Mill. Still operational today, the Readville Mill supplies the folks of Readville freshly ground cornmeal, grits, and whole wheat flour. But more than that, it keeps the important tradition and history alive for new generations to explore.
We are gathered today here in the mill proper, which is a National Historic Site here in Readville, Tennessee. We are sitting on the line of Rutherford and Cannon County. Across the river is Rutherford, and where we are now is Cannon County. There has been a mill on this site for 200 years. Charles Reedy came to this area in 1802, and in 1812 he built the Readville Mill. The mill at that time would grind grains such as corn, grits, and flour. It was also the Walmart of its day. It's where people came to exchange information. If you have milk, I have eggs, we would barter. When the mill was built, the man's average yearly income who worked here was $2.28. It'll be 200 years old next year, and we are so proud of it. Mr. Brady has bought it about 6 years ago, totally has tried to bring it back to life. Readville Mill never had a water wheel on the side. Most people, when you envision a mill, you envision what's called an overshot wheel, and that is where water comes through a flume, hits the wheel, and turns it. The Readville Mill had underneath it what's called an undershot wheel, and the water would come through the race, hit the undershot wheel, turn that, which in turn would turn the cogs and the belts and operate the mill. It would then hook back up to the Stone River, which is right beside us. We are not sitting directly on the river. We're probably about 30 to 50 feet off of the river because of the race. River soil has a tendency to be very loamy, wonderful stuff to plant in, but it's very difficult to have structures sit on. It's like shifting sand. There has been 5 feet high of water inside this mill before, because this river is a formidable force. Since I've been here, in the 2 years I've been here, I've seen it come up to the floor but not come inside. So in 1973, there was 5 feet of water. That's exactly how tall I am. So if you look and you think of everything where I'm standing being underwater, the good part of it is that these are all things that can withstand water. When you're in here, you get a general sense of age, because if you look around, there is no plastic. It is all wood and metal. These are the chutes that would release the grains into the bags when people would come to order their flour and their grains on Saturday, but the mill was a working mill all week. The slaves dug the race in 1842, and it's as historic as the mill is. It goes all the way under Highway 70 and over onto the property across the road where our dam is. The dam still remains today, but the water goes around it because the river has breached the dam and it washes around it, so water no longer flows through the race. So at one time, Tennessee had 871 mills. Today, we're down to less than 15. Of those 15, only 3 still grind, and of those 3, we're the only ones USDA organic. Being USDA requires more action than not. The reason is you have to get your corn off of certified fields, and to be a handler, you have to be certified yourself. Mr. Brady had to go to school to be a handler. Anytime you involve the government, they set certain specifications for you, as they should, for your food products. And what they do is they track us, because it would be very easy to buy 500 pounds worth of corn and sell 1,000 pounds worth of cornmeal. So to make sure that you sell what you bought, they keep tabs of how much you buy and how much you sell. And all that is a good thing. We don't carry anything that is not made locally. We try to get as much local as we can. A lot of artisans in this area. There are so many people who have free-range chickens, who have do rug weaving or whatever their art is. We try to promote that and to get as local as possible, because back in the day, no one was trucking it to this mill. It pretty much generated the bulk of it. Mr. Brady still uses the old equipment that you see here. The machines that he uses, one of them is 112 years old and one's 108. They are 36-inch stones, and he grinds the grains on Saturday morning, takes them to the kitchen where our ladies prepare breakfast for the community. Today, Mr. Brady still uses the machines that are here original to the mill. The first one is, these are Meadows mills, and there are two of them. One is 112 years old and one is 108. Inside these boxes are two 36-inch stones. One remains stationary and the other one turns, and that's what grinds the grain. Behind me is a 48-inch stone, and it has been turned up on its side to show the stone that would move. The shaft would go through that and turn those two big stones. The reason that they have a apparatus to lift that stone up, as you see it now, is so that when the stone got dull, they would take a file and sharpen those grooves back in there. So even grinding with rock, it would wear the rock down. When you brought your grain into the granary, we would pour it into a hopper at the end of the granary, and then a wooden auger would turn and force that grain over like through a flume into this hopper, where it would fall down, and these are called the legs. Inside the legs are straps with about a half cup, metal cup on it, and when the turbine would turn, it would turn those straps, which would pick that grain up and then take it to the fourth floor. Most of the posts in this mill are hollow because of the straps. Mr. Reedy's house is still standing. It's on Readville Street, and it too is 200 years old, and it's still occupied. We are on a 6-acre campus. To have a historical 6-acre campus that is still the way it was 200 years ago is a very rare treat. It has been through many different hands throughout its 200 years, but to put it in perspective, Thomas Jefferson could have shopped here for 20 years prior to his death. A mill was on this site 50 years before Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, and 110 years before Lindbergh flew. The reason I say that is because it's not just old, it's really old. And it has produced the lumber for the neighboring communities to build the houses. It's produced the ice, it's produced the electricity, and today it is where the community gathers for breakfast on Saturday morning, and we do events here. So a lot of people get married here. The reason we do the weddings is to ingratiate the younger people to this site and their offspring, because each generation has to save it. These things are so rare that 200 years from now, no one will be standing at an Arby's showing you where the French fries were made. We're proud of the mill, and we want everybody to come and see it. We do school tours and tours for seniors, because these are the people that need to know about it. The older people already understand its importance. The younger people need to understand it.
We hope you'll join us next time on Live Green Tennessee, when we'll feature news stories and bring you more exciting news about Tennessee markets, farmers and businesses who are making the move to eating fresh and living green possible for us all. Right here next time on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This fall, there's fun worth finding just about every day at Tennessee farms, farmers markets, fairs, and festivals. You'll find corn mazes, pig races, farm animals and friendly faces, honey to eat, and fall colors that are a feast for the eyes. Whether you're looking for the perfect pumpkin or just a good scare, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
And by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Southern Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education,